The Culdee Fell Railway, a mountain railway located on the island of Sodor. It is the only rack railway on Sodor. This very obscure railway first appeared in Railway Series Book 19, Mountain Engines, and last appeared in Book 19, Mountain Engines. For only appearing in one book, the Culdee Fell Railway is a fascinating and intriguing little railway. The Culdee Fell Railway, while fictional, is inspired by the Snowdon Mountain Railway, which houses the real-life counterparts of the engines on the Culdee Fell. The illustrators visited the railway to gain inspiration for the book. One incident which occurred on the Snowdon Mountain Railway was inspiration for the story Bad Lookout. In the story, the first engine, Godred, is scrapped after he tumbles down the mountain, similar to how Engine 1, Ladas, on the Snowdon Mountain Railway, fell down the mountain on the opening day of the railway. The Culdee Fell Railway was the brainchild of the Mid-Sodor, which had operated from 1874 to 1947 and ran for 25 miles. It had set itself to encourage tourism on the island. The Mid-Sodor hoped to extend the line round the head of the valley to Kirkmacan, where passengers could join a mountain railway to reach the peak. Lord Peter Buraine was the landlord, and while in favour of railways, he was reluctant to allow for the railway to be built up to the mountainside in view of possible disfigurement to the natural beauty. The project was put on hold for years due to this issue. The Skarloey Railway took this opportunity. They were in a position to provide an easy access to a short route up the mountain. They made sure the Culdee Fell excursions were widely advertised. It paid off, as these were very popular. The short climb was very attractive. However, this had a depressing effect on the residents of Peel Godred and Kirkmacan, who saw their tourist traffic shifting to the other side of the island. The complaints caused Lord Peter Buraine to change his mind. The first sod of the Culdee Fell Railway was cut by Lady Elaine, eldest daughter of Lord Peter. The sponsors included the Culdee Fell Tramroad and Hotel Company. This company had been made under Lord Peter's chairmanship, and due to this, he was in a position to ensure that the lower section of his line skirted the sides of his property rather than cut straight through it. The Snowdon Mountain Railway, which had opened shortly before this, suggested using the ab-track system, which was soon adopted. The construction was helped by the expertise of the Snowdon Mountain Railway, which is why the two railways are similar in many regards. The construction process was smooth, and the line was passed for passenger service in March of 1900. Less than a month after its opening, engine number 1 Godred fell down a ravine on the return journey. Thankfully, no passengers were injured. Godred, however, was damaged beyond repair and was put in a shed, where over the next few years his parts were used to repair other engines. People speculated that the accident was caused by a stone lodged between the two teeth of the rack rail, but it was never proved. As a result of this, the line was closed for the rest of the summer while repairs on the line were being made. For 61 years, the line was run by Ernest, Wilfred, Culdee and Shane Dooney. The 4 engines were regularly maintained and were sent periodically to Switzerland for an overhaul. In 1962, it became apparent that both Culdee and Shane Dooney both needed heavy overhauls. Due to this, the railway purchased 3 more engines, Lord Harry, Alaric and Eric. After Shane Dooney's return in 1964, Crovan's Gate was equipped with machinery and craftsmen able to tackle any type of steam locomotive overhaul. Thus, the long, expensive trips to Switzerland were no longer necessary. Starting at Kirkmacan, the line climbs up to the summit, calling at Shiloh. The line then runs along the wildlife sanctuary at Pauline White Crink. After that, it stops at Skarloey Road, where trains are met by roadway buses. It then goes through Devil's Back, and finally, the line ends at the Culdee Fell summit. The line is open from Easter to Christmas, and winter is when the line is repaired. Over the span of the railway series, there have been 8 engines on the Culdee Fell Railway. Those engines are Godred, Ernest, Wilfred, Culdee, Shane Dooney, Patrick, who's formerly Lord Harry, Alaric and Eric. The first engine, Godred, fell down a ravine due to his arrogance. He met a grim end when he was put in the back of a shed and his spare parts were used to repair other engines. He was very pompous and arrogant. Little is known about Ernest. Wilfred is a kind old mountain engine who informs Culdee about the changes on the railway after his overhaul, and they both later teased Lord Harry after he derailed, calling him a wreck. The fourth engine, Culdee, is by far the most prominent. Culdee was the first engine used in test runs for the railway, and while on his way back from overhaul, he shared his stories with the engines of the Skarloey Railway. He is careful, cautious and friendly. He has his own coach named Catherine, who helps him in his run up the mountain. Lord Harry arrived when Culdee and Shane Dooney were in need of an overhaul. He arrived on the railway in March 1962. After he derailed at the summit of the Culdee Fell, he had his name removed and was sent to the shed in disgrace. After hearing the tale of Godred, he asked for a second chance and was given one as a lowly shunting engine. However, when a message came warning that some climbers needed help during bad weather, Lord Harry stepped up and saved them. He was renamed to Patrick after the leader of the climbers. Little is known about engines 7 and 8. All of the engines have two faces, one at the front and one at the end. Each engine also has their own coach, which acts as a lookout while ascending to the peak. All of the engines have a purple with orange lining livery. The controller of the Culdee Fell is Walter Richards, whose attire consists of a brown coat, a black fedora, a pair of brown trousers, and a white shirt with a tie over it. He plays the role of the strict authority figure. And that's it, the complete history of the Culdee Fell in a nutshell. I hope you like me talking about a fictional railway from a book series meant for kids. I hope you learned something about the Culdee Fell. Leave some suggestions in the comments on what videos I should make. See you.